Welcome to Community and Connection Chats with D, where we connect with people in our community, my icons, who I consider my icons. And today we have the authors of Unicorn Love, a collection of erotic short stories and poems. Today we have Michele Brantley and Lameek Gray. Welcome.
Are y'all ready for this?
Welcome, guys. Welcome to Community and Connection Chats with D. I am welcome here today with Michele Brantley and Lameek Gray, my two authors of Unicorn Love. And I wanted you guys to introduce yourselves and let us know your name, where you're from, and we can start the show.
I am Michele Brantley. I'm a native of Newark, New Jersey. This is my first book that I wrote with Lameek. And I've been around the world. I've traveled. I've had several experiences. And this is one of them. And I'm enjoying the ride.
Wow. Interesting. My name is Lameek Gray. Native of Newark, New Jersey. Currently reside in Pennsylvania. And I traveled the world, but I ain't went nowhere. I'm gonna let y'all figure that out. You get it?
You want to elaborate on that?
No, that's gonna be one of those mysteries. I've traveled the world, and I haven't been anywhere.
And is it in the book where you continue to travel the world? Is there more information on that?
No, it's no information.
Okay, all right, so we'll get back to that then. Well, I welcome you both on the show, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to do my second season of Community and Connection Chats with D and letting you guys be the first guest on my season 2 show.
Thank you.
I am honored, and this is an amazing book. I have my own personal reasons for believing that this book is amazing, and I'm sure everyone else will as well when you grab this book. All right, so other than that, Michele, you guys told me a little about yourselves, Mr. Gray and Michele. Mr. Gray or Lameek, because what people don't know, Lameek is my cousin. So I wanted to give him the utmost respect.
Mr. Gray.
Who would you like to be called?
Mr. Gray.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, anybody who would like to explain the title and how you guys came up with the title Unicorn Love?
Well, Unicorn Love is a kind of love that is rare and magical. So when you think of a unicorn as a fantasy creature, it doesn't really exist. And so when we were writing, going back and forth, I said, you know what, this is like a unicorn love. It's rare. You don't ever find it. It's magical. It doesn't really exist, but it exists in your mind. And so we just titled it that way. And we've been believing in it, because it is a unicorn love.
Very nice, very nice. And when did you realize that you wanted to be a writer?
Well, I've always written. Even as a teenager, I wrote poetry about different things that happened in my life. I had a book of poetry, I just never put it out. And when Lameek and I reconnected, it was just like we have all these things and ideas and things that we want to do and accomplish. And through some of my brands and some of the other things that I do, I've been just saying, F it, I'm doing it. I don't have any do-overs, there's no repeats in life. Why not try it? The worst thing I could do is fail. And let's do it. We have all these things, and I know you're sitting on, I was telling him, I know you're sitting on mad poems. You like to write, nice things, romantic things. Give me what you got, and I'm gonna hit you back. And then we just started the back and forth, the push and pull. He write, I write, I'm trying to outdo him, he's trying to outdo me. And it just evolved into a book of poetry. And then when we thought about publishing, I was like, forget it, I'm putting it out myself. Matter of fact, I'm doing the art. And I just started pulling triggers. Instead of stalling, procrastinating, think of what I can't be or what we can't do or why we shouldn't, we looked at the need for it because the Zanes, you know, the people who wrote erotica are really not around anymore. Everything is really like self-help and, you know, self-improvement, which is great, you know, but there's an audience for people who like to read sexy, seductive, spicy text. And so, you know, we put it out there. We put it out there for his birthday, you know, to put what he does and has a passion for into paper and make it happen.
When did you realize that you wanted to be a writer?
I've been writing since I've been about 7th, 8th grade. I wrote a lot of poems, I wrote a lot of love letters, and I probably was like one of the only young boys that I know that was writing in this particular fashion. No other men I know wrote like this. So I thought it was something. I think when I first met Michele, maybe, what was that, 2002? And, you know, I wrote some things then. I just would write throughout the course of my life. And I didn't see the vision that she saw. And when she showed it to me, she printed it out to me. I looked at it, I said, I don't know. She showed it to me again. I said, I think we got something. I think we got something. And I thought that it was needed in this day and time. And what really made me, what was fascinating about it, a lot of these came through text messages. You remember maybe a few years ago, text messaging was only 140 characters. You could only use 140. I had to try to be as creative and seductive as I could within 140 characters. I had to hold this person's attention in 140 characters. That just made me great.
Nice.
Took me to another level.
So when you got to 140, did you want to write more?
Oh my God, it was beautiful. Everything is so short now. Even the book, I didn't think that the book should be 300, 400 pages. I thought it was 70, what is it, 75? 75. I think that was enough. To capture somebody's attention for maybe about an hour, 2 hours is enough. And I think we pulled it off.
Well, I read the book, so I mean, I might be moving a little quick through this interview, but will there be a part 2? Because you said this is the shortness of this book, we need more. So will there be a second version? Is there more writings out there?
Yes.
Yes, it's a lot more.
Okay,
yes.
Okay,
We're already starting
There's more to come.
Okay, good. So we'll keep it where the audience can get through this book, finish it, and then we'll be writing reviews, asking for more. Okay, audience, so when you read this book, you will be asking for more. I'm telling you. From my mouth to yours, okay? So, you guys mentioned a little bit of it, but you got it through text messages, you've been writing for a while now. Your information, can you just elaborate on the ideas of this book and possibly where did you get the idea and the information to write it?
I think for me, some of it was our past history. Some of it was just trying to think of the most kinkiest, nastiest, wildest thing I could say back to him to spark his energy to write. I would try to not necessarily seduce him, but seduce him to write. And so I would just try different styles, try different poems to see if he was like, all right, Miss B, I am coming for you. And then write me something back in return to come back at me. And just as raunchy as I get is how flowery he gets. So he gets, we tease each other all the time. I say he's Maxwell Sade, I'm Cardi B and Lil' Kim. And that's our style. Yeah. But as Lil' Kim as I try to get, he tries to get super Maxwell. And it would just become competitive. He's an alpha male, I'm an alpha female. So the push and pull is really what gravitated towards us to write and to write more.
Okay. I All right, and the audience, when you wrote this book, I see a male on the front, there's an animal, woman on the unicorn, there's a rainbow up here. Who's the book for? Is it for everyone? Who's your audience? Who was your audience when you put this book out?
Well, I think Lameek would agree with me. The audience is for everyone. We don't discriminate against anyone. I think many of the poems can be applied to bisexual relationships, homosexual relationships, straight relationships. It doesn't matter. If you can envision the person that you're making love to or having sex with, then you can envision these things happening to you. Your river might be in front, your river might be in back. It can change based on your orientation. But the excitement and the feeling is still there. And so I think that, we don't, try to only write towards heterosexuals because we're heterosexual. We write towards everyone that enjoys sex and enjoys being erotic and enjoys being intimate with a partner.
Okay. You want to time?
I think Michele said it all.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Michele said it all.
So the book has been out for some time now. October it's been out, since the birthday boy's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of feedback are you guys getting? Have you been reading your reviews? Have you been talking to people?
The feedback has been amazing. For the most part, it's been amazing. Yeah. I get a lot of people telling me more so about Miss Brantley's style of writing as opposed to mine. Miss Brantley is like Tupac.
Miss Brantley's style is like Tupac.
Miss Brantley's style
Wow.
is like Tupac. And my style is like I'm kind of like a little soft when it comes to that. My writings are, Miss B come right out and say, I want to fuck you. My writing style is more so, I want to find a way to lift you in the sky high as I can before I drop your ass. Because I'm going to drop you.
And the writings are not like, they don't stand out where it's saying from her, for him. It doesn't say that.
It doesn't
You
say you have
figure
to
it
gather
out
it.
once you
That's right.
Yeah.
Mystery of it.
And it, like we discussed before, some of the ones that I kind of saw in myself were the ones you wrote. Selfish is like one of my favorite ones because that's the old me. Might still be a little bit of me. And you gotta get the book to understand Selfish, the one that I'm talking about. But I can see myself in a lot of it. So when I was talking to Lameek, I'm like, this one I like, this one I like. He's Michele, this V was those. So I like that you can sit and read each poem and you figuring out who's actually involved in it. Because I imagine, I believe I said this to you as well, I imagine couples that I wasn't even in the room with, as I'm reading it. So, and I like to read stuff like that. When I'm reading erotica, so I like to imagine not just me and my partner, I want to imagine other people. That might be the little kinky side of me, but I imagine other people as I'm reading. And that's what this book also gives. And that's just my review. I hope more people can actually, put their, input in so that we can get that part too.
Well, I think that the reviews that I've gotten have all been positive. I haven't gotten any critique of any one style of writing. I've had males give me feedback and, they kind of looked at me a little differently after they read it because they don't know me in that capacity. And then I've had females be like, girl, you had my husband ready. You had me ready for my husband. And so I didn't get any, negative feedback. All the feedback and the reviews online are very positive. I think that, we're in a culture where so many people, especially people of color, are taking risks and doing ventures that, that they are no longer trying to be the negative Nancy in the group. You know, instead of saying what your book isn't, people are saying what they liked. You know, I love the cover. You know, I love the intro. You know, I love that poem. What made you write that poem? You know, one of my favorite poems, and the poem that started it all is For the Whole World to See. And, you know, it says, we make love daily on paper, right? So he and I would go back and forth, you know, through text messages or Facebook message, and we just go back and forth all day. And even though there was no physical contact, we making love on paper.
Right.
And then we're gonna put it out for the whole world to see. And exposing yourself and being that vulnerable and open to criticism is very hard, you know, but fuck it, we gotta do it. Because that's the only way we gonna ever know if it's a shit or if we the only ones that think it's a shit, you know? And we won't reach the success that we're looking for in other avenues of our lives if we're not willing to take risks. And so, you know, all of the feedback has been positive that I received. All the support from my friends, from my family has been very positive.
Yeah, and going to that, what is your family saying?
Actually, I think one of the first people that bought the book, they inboxed me and they said, y'all didn't even give us a warning. That's what I like about it. That's why I was so brilliant. She said, "La, I opened up the book and immediately y'all got right to it. There's no introduction, there's no foreword, there's no dedication.
Yeah, just jump right into
the
it.
book, we get busy."
Yeah.
And I think that's the first time that's been seen or been done. So that was, Michele started something like that.
Yeah.
It
reminds you of the bedroom. It reminds you of the bedroom, you know?
I'm
going
in my mind, I'm thinking that's an error. I'm thinking, damn, we messed up because we didn't,
We have a dedication in the book. We dedicated to ourselves, to the younger version of ourselves when, you know, we first started this idea over 20 years ago. And now that actually is coming to fruition and we finished it. You know, that's a big accomplishment. But there was no need for foreplay, you know?
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Okay, so writing with emotion is key at being creative in your work. I mean, in all work, with all artists and authors. Were either of you in a moment while you were writing where you said, this poem, like you have to stop and say, this is the poem, this is it?
Well, for me, I write long before the physical part of it. I always write in my head. I'm always creating in my head. My writing supersedes what I could do physically. I probably physically can't do none of the stuff that I come up with, but in my mind, I'm Superman. I'm a superhero. I can do everything, and I can do everybody.
Wow.
Everything. Okay, all right. Don't let that go in your head, audience, okay?
So it's never the moment. I don't really write about the moment. I create the moments first, and then sometimes if the moment happens, it's still not as good as what I created in my head or what I wrote down for some reason. I be like, damn, that shit that I wrote is electrifying.
Right.
And if it happens, it's like now I have to try to make that sound good, as opposed to me writing it. It's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
Shout out to Keith Murray.
My boy Keith, he done made it.
Shout out to my boy Keith.
He needed to write the book next. He needed to write the book. I don't like to see his words in the book. I don't like him to demonstrate.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So would you both like to see more exposure and awareness in the erotica genre? Because right now, what we had before, 50 Shades of Grey, and some of the Zane books, you know, some of the authors that you named, we haven't seen it in a while, like you said. It's a lot of mental health. It's a lot of journals out there. Plug, I just did an ebook as well on, entrepreneurship and side hustles. It's a lot of that out there. We haven't seen the erotica books. We haven't seen poetry. in a very long time, especially poetry in erotica form. Would you like to see that type of work? Do you want to see more people put this out there? Do you guys want to be the center where you're starting a new genre? You know, especially for our community, you know, because we don't see people that we grew up with writing this type of stuff. And I love it. I love it. So is that something that you want to open the doors for?
Well, I think that, you know, with the COVID and the shutdowns and the closures and you're home and you're isolated and you're by yourself and you're left to your own devices, whether they be drinking, smoking, you know, a lot of people suffered from mental health crisis, you know, during the pandemic. And finding a outlet could present itself in many forms. Some people started businesses, some people started podcasts like yourself, other people started different ventures working from home, trying to find something to do to take up the empty time that we once spent outside. And when we look at different things that we can do, when I look at the things that I can do, I do a lot of things already. But what would give me relief? What would give me release? You know, to me, this is fun. You know, it is a fun time to talk about something that some people consider taboo, you know, and writing about it in such a way in which I'm free to express myself however I feel at that moment, and understanding that even though as a woman, some people might see like, well, you shouldn't talk like that. And in your mind, you're thinking, you know we talk like that though. Maybe you've never been in a room full of women when they tipsy talking about their man and how it goes down. A good girlfriend, not, you know, just associate girlfriend. That good girlfriend, okay? Yeah. She know how it went down, all the way down.
Absolutely.
And being able to be an erotic poet, an erotic author, I don't want to share it. I want to own it. You know, I want to come out with another book, and especially for people of color, because we're not doing 50 Shades of Grey, okay?
No.
There's not going to be any bondage, you're not tying me up, you're not choking out me, you're not spanking me.
As freaky as I can be, you're not doing that to me, no.
So it has to appeal to my sense of sexuality and sensuality, and I think it does that, and I don't want to share, you know, I'm selfish, so. You know, that's one of my ones.
Yeah, my favorite one.
And I think that we'll be able to encourage other people who are in the genre, who want to write, and then support whatever it is that they do. But we just want to.
And what do you say about the men? Give me the perspective of, you know, what would you like to see?
This is the issue that I'm having. A lot of men want to communicate this information to women. They want to express this. But they don't know how, or they might be afraid of how, you know, it might make me too soft, and they can't really find the words. I told a lot of men that I know, go get this book. You'll figure out which ones that I brought. And you can take from that. That's how you start your journey. That's how I started. You don't know, it might sound, or you might think it sounds foolish. Write it to her, she might love it. They don't want to communicate like that. So even with the R&B songs, people say, "Why don't make R&B like we used to?" Like that's going. We'll have this type of poetry. That's going. We here to keep it alive. I have posted my page and in the book, and on this Brantley page, and on the Unicorn Love page that says, "Seduction ain't dead, romance ain't dead." That shit is still very much alive. We gonna keep it alive. We gonna do a part 2. Part 3, and then we're gonna do my book.
Okay, next question. Are you guys gonna work on another collaboration or solo project?
Sure, we're gonna do another collaboration, and I have a book that I've been working on that I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be interested in. It's called Once in Blue Rose.
Is it erotica? Is it erotica?
It's real nasty. It's about me and my experience in my lifetime. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people that know me, they want to hear about these experiences in detail. They want that. Cause everything with me is secrecy. It's a mystery. I don't give up too much information. But in this book, yeah, I'm gonna reveal myself.
So you're very private until you get that pen in you.
Yes, I'm gonna let. And I didn't want to. It took me. I didn't want to relinquish the Michele kept saying. I was like, nah, because I'm private and I live in the shadows. But Michele said, look, we gotta do it. We sitting on something here. You just gotta do it. I was afraid. I said, nah, I don't want people in my business. People, they want to find out this, what I'm doing. I spoke to my mother about it, I spoke to my father about it. I said, just do it.
Yeah.
I gave her the green light, she did it. And she was successful.
But that's sometimes, that's something we all have to do. I do a lot of workshops and, I have a lot of things written down at home that I kept to myself because I'm like, oh, I can make money off of this. But now, so many people ask, how do you do this? How do you do that? And now I just figured I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna do more of the workshops, I'm gonna do more of the books. So that's something that I think that where you're going, where you figured that he's been writing all this stuff, why not share it with the world?
Right.
We're not getting younger. I just feel like there's someone out there who appreciates that you put your stuff.
Me not knowing that or not thinking that, and Michele saying, this shit you wrote was amazing. I'm like, nah. She's like, nah, this is it. Nah, that ain't it. And then she writes something to combat what I wrote. And I go, oh, you talking shit. Then I got that. That's what made me go get busy. I get busy. Then I got another one. And she's so fast. It can take me a whole day to write something. She come back 10 minutes with a whole paragraph and comment. I said, it took me all day to write this. And that's because I'm trying to get people to, that's another thing. I'm sending to the dictionary. You're gonna learn adjectives when you read my work. You're gonna learn new words when you read my work.
You guys need to do a erotic glossary at the end of your books now,
Mm-hmm. That might be nice.
Yeah, that might be real nice. That might be real nice.
Especially when it comes to me, because I don't speak in those terms. You have to decipher what I'm saying. I told you, I was telling you when we spoke off camera, that a story where we'll get into that next time.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get that next time.
That's one of the bloopers.
Yeah, I'm telling everything right now.
But you'll see in volume 2 that one thing that I did was try to emulate his style of using words that aren't typically words used to describe different actions and body parts during sex. And so, I admired him for that. That was one of his writing styles that I was like, okay, he's talking about some effervescence, cumulus clouds, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm sitting there like, effervescence, cumulus clouds, slowness breathing in the sky, and the blue sky with the rose, and it's like, yeah.
Miss Bia say pussy. She'll say pussy.
Yeah.
I'll say vanilla. Now, when you go, I tell people all the time, go to the dictionary and look up vagina. Vagina, you look up vagina and you look up the etymology of the word and you're going to see vanilla. Vagina and vanilla is synonymous. So when I write vanilla, somebody might say, what the fuck is he talking about? That's for you to go look it up. I'm saying you want a mission. You want a mission here. Then you'll understand what this beat saying. Just come with this pussy.
Okay.
I'm saying I want that vanilla.
Why would you want
Yeah, because now there's a whole conversation. What is vanilla?
Right, so instead of me getting
into it,
Well,
I mean, it's different styles. Everybody some people like it more aggressive. And
That's
some
the high
people like
road. That's the
Right,
push
but I
and
think
pull.
that's what makes it good because there's something in there for everyone. And it's like, I wouldn't get offended if you turn the page of one of my poems to go to his And I don't think that he would get offended if you turn one of the pages of his book.
I'm pushing you. I'm pushing you to Miss Brantley's work. I tell people all the time, read that. That shit is brilliant to me. How she did it, the concepts, how she matched my poems. You gotta read it. You gotta read it. Well, you read it, but the people who have to read it. The shit is incredible. It's incredible. It blows my mind every time I read it. I find something new.
It's very creative.
And I find a lot of times, like, you know, the females that I know are very professional. And as professionals, they end up being reserved and shy. And, you know, they have a saying that a man wants a cook in the kitchen and a freak in the bedroom, okay? And all I can say is that it's true.
It is. Very true.
Very true. Okay?
Very true.
You know, you talk to the nasties, some of them really, really like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they like that, you know, when you're a little bit assertive, you know what you want, you're providing direction. They don't have to guess. They don't have to think. You know, I think that we as women think that men have all the answers. That they know exactly what they want. That they know exactly how they want it. That they have every idea, they can go on for hours. And that may be true for some men, but it's not true for all men. And knowing what you want and being able to provide a man information on how to please you saves you a lot of time and saves him a lot of headache as far as not pleasing you and then you being disappointed, and then you both end up sitting there looking at the ceiling like, why the hell did I do this? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could have saved that condom for the next man. That was wasting my time.
You want that rose, you want that blue rose.
Wait a minute, the blue one.
But the blue one, they ain't come out.
I've been hearing a lot about it.
Oh, they got a blue one. They got a blue one.
Okay.
5'9", 225.
Oh my goodness. Let our viewers and listeners know where they can find your book.
So our book is available on multiple platforms. The primary way that we sell the book is on Amazon. We can provide the link to you for your podcast, and then you can click on it, go to it. You can buy the book in 3 different forms. We have the digital version, the Kindle. We also have a paperback, and we also have a hardcover. It is also on sale. It has a different book cover, just because of the book cover was a little bit erotic for them. It was Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Scribe, and a number of other digital platforms. And so the book is available, it's out, we've been selling, and we're going to continue to promote our book. Next steps are to have a couple more book signings and just to go on tour. You know, I've been up and down the East Coast, taking the book with me. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? And the next thing is to try to get into some local bookstores. Starting with the Black-owned bookstores, trying to support our own people and just, you know, getting it out there. You really have to do a lot of footwork as far as taking the book, introducing yourself, right, and just making sure that we have enough time in our busy schedules, because we're both entrepreneurs, to be able to do that. And so those are our next steps.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed your book. And you guys, I want you guys to go out and get this book. I will provide the link to the book and all where you can find the book at different stores, and possibly go on a tour with Mr. Gray and Ms. Brantley on their book tour and appear at one of their signings, so you can get your own copy signed. Because I'm going to get my copy signed today. All right. And before we go, can you guys mention your favorite poem? If you guys have a favorite one out of the book?
Yes, I have a favorite. My favorite is the all black affair. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite.
That was the back and forth one.
That was my favorite, the all black affair.
I was going to say that.
All black affairs. Anybody can attach themselves to the all black affair. You gotta read it. It's just, I like it because not what I was doing physically, but it was the scene that I created, that I set.
Yeah, that gave me
It's
like,
powerful. Yeah.
I'm not
It's
gonna give,
powerful.
I'm not gonna give anything away. You guys have to get out and get this book. Ms. Brantley's gonna let us know which one was probably her favorite.
What's your favorite?
I have so many
Or favorites.
I said I have so many favorites. For the whole world to see is probably, because that is the one that started it all. As far as the idea and concept to put it into a book and put it out. But I think that one of my favorite poems is Do It to Me.
Oh, I like that one too.
Because I think that, you know, when people first read it, they're thinking it necessarily means sex, but it doesn't necessarily mean sex. It means sometimes you can have somebody in life that does it for you. It can be a conversation. It could be dinner, it could be the romance, it could be flowers, it could be just their presence, them breathing on your neck, you know, it could be anything. And whatever it is, you just want them to do more of it. Especially when you know you got the butterflies, you really like a guy or girl and you really want them to be around and be in your life. And so whatever it is, you want them to do it and do a lot of it. Right?
Yeah. I just wish sometimes we don't have to build a bear sometime, and when we read that one, you go, oh God, I know somebody that can do that. I need somebody to do it that way. I know somebody to give me it this way.
Right.
You know, but it's just you want them. You want that person
Right.
to be able to have that full package and do it from that
Or
full
you can just
package.
be happy with a team, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a team.
Sometimes.
I mean, you can play tennis, you can play basketball, you can start at 5.
Right, start at 5. Well, thank you guys both.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate you guys, and I want to again congratulate you. 2 authors, you're doing well, and you know I look forward to part 2.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
He ain't true. Don't drive into these sessions and don't make me make these confessions of my extracurricular activities that don't involve you. I'm the most honest woman you've ever met, your unicorn. Willing to be whatever you ever need me to be because he ain't you. He licks my pussy like it's dessert, savoring every flavor, but never matching your energy. Never matching you. He tries to make me his, and because of who I am, he revels in my space. He wants me, all of me, but he can't have me because I belong to someone else. You. When you lick my pussy, I'm in a place that I have never been. Wrote this over and over in my head again, debating whether to say it or not, but that doesn't mean it isn't true. You know I don't wait well. You know he ain't you. He plays with the pussy while you have mastered mine, making it do things that it hasn't done since 20 years ago when you were mine. His time is yours, stolen away by pride and scheduled conflicts, lack of planning because of imaginary rules. Rules for me? Ain't no rules for me. I rule me, and yet so do you. That's why I'm penning this shit, cause nigga, he ain't you. He calls and texts me throughout the day, but it's not the same. His is just a regular sound while you have a dedicated notification alerting me that you're thinking of me, bringing me close, sending me an emoji, or an I love you, Michele. As eagerly as I wait the next time, the next episode, the next kiss, the next rendezvous, glaring at the phone, waiting for those words, I miss you, he ain't you. When he holds me, I feel lust. When you hold me, I feel love. Love of 1,000 years tied together. Some magical shit intertwined that cannot be separated by space or time. One that excites me, starts my engine and brings out my purr. Having me open and you always on my mind. If I told him how I really felt, he'd be devastated. Asking me shit like, why not me? He'd never understand this chemistry, as I barely understand it myself. I just know it's there. It's the way that you kiss me. It's in the way that you hold me. It's in the way that we intertwine. I'm yours, and you, my darling, are mine, even if it's only in my mind. He ain't you.
This one is titled Date with the Devil. Years have passed, and I've remained silent. I've undoubtedly surpassed the bounds of humility. I've traveled far beyond timidness because of my ego, which no longer resides in me. The ego is afraid of rejection. The ego is afraid of what one might think. The ego is resentful and arrogant and or shy. The ego is a million things, but the ego is not you. Personality is not you. Personality comes from the word persona, which means character in a role or play. I am authentically conjuring this little scribe, spontaneously, with no fear. Only when I submerge myself in consciousness did I realize none of that matters. There are no weight restrictions in true attraction. There are no height requirements in companionship. There are no demands in friendship. There are no bounds of seduction in courtship. Where there is love, fear cannot exist. I wanted to get to know you, and you know the true me from the moment I befriended you. But at that moment, I was unconscious, as most people were in Western civilization. So all I thought of was taken. Now, all I think of is given. My imagination is limitless. These past few days, I've been in constant wonderment, perpetual pondering of experiences inside of you and explorations outside of you with no expiration dates. So one day, just one day, maybe one day, you will allow me to enter your world beyond the confines of mental, spiritual space and exchange pleasantries in desire personified. So just picture us on a date. That's so traditional, romantic, and quaint, but that's not me. That's not you. I don't date. I incentivize. I stimulate. I influence. I'm asking to be a part of the same place with you at the same time. Whenever, wherever, whatever. And let our energy and chemistry nurture the union. Our morning text may brighten the world. Our hands held together may electrify what's unseen to the eye. Sincerely, Lameek, your soon-to-be 5'9", 215 pound yellow blanket.